I just allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All righty, roll call.
TTC Chairperson Laura Hoffman.
Here.
TTC Vice Chairperson Jim Ferguson.
Here.
TTC Member Whitney Tucker.
Here.
TTC Member Tom Cooper.
Here.
TTC Member Brock Gibson. He emailed, he cannot make it today. Board Liaison Alderman Joe Steiger.
Here.
Chamber of Commerce Representative Dina Kryler.
Here.
St. Genevieve County Representative Karen Stewart.
Here. All right. We have a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve July.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Motion to approve the minutes from last month.
Did you approve those minutes? Second.
All those in favor? All right. Wonderful. Financial report.
Yes. So lodging tax receipts for month of July totaled $4,354. That puts us at $27,069. $27,069.84 for the year. And that puts our surplus up, or at least our coffers up to $92,568.32 for the year.
Any questions?
What's I guess I just might be a typo.
Which one?
It's been on the ledger. All that was 7 or 8. I don't know.
Why are so many numbers?
Like subtotals or subtotals.
Yeah, right. Good question. So nobody will miss it.
No question. I'm sorry.
All right. Public comments? Old business.
Old business. So we'll start with past events. Moonlight Madness. I think that was the downtown St. John's not first time, but this was kind of a new event. They tried a different spin on it. I was down for it. I think we had a problem with the cars that were supposed to come through, but there were feet on the streets, and it looked like it would have been pretty fun. I was dressed in my 70s outfit, so I was having a good time. The Traditional Artisan Showcase also showed up for that. That was at ASL Pewter. I thought that was really well put on. How do you guys, since we have the guy?
They had a blast. They did well. Nicholas Moore that came from Virginia had a great time. He went out and he closed all the bars down in town on He had himself a good time, brought a bunch of people into the shop on Saturday.
Okay, nice.
So, and the biggest problem we're having is our artisans are getting older, and a number of them are having health issues that are making them so it's difficult for them to do what they're doing.
Sure.
And we have 2 of them that may not be back just for those reasons. So we have a much smaller pool we're trying to draw from. And we're working on, even now, trying to get people to come for next year.
Yeah.
And it's the artisans it's an artisan-driven event, so it's trying to make sure we have good quality artisans that are known worldwide to come into our event.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was really nice. Kate and I got a nice birdhouse for the outside of our on our porch.
We're very busy, and we didn't have a chance to keep numbers this year, but we were pretty full.
That's good to hear.
Place, very nicely done.
All right, and Jour de Fête, I think if everybody went down there, you'd see that was really great. That was my first Jour de Fête, so I have nothing to compare it to. But when I got there at noon, I was shoulder to shoulder with people on the streets. I mean, it was jam packed, and it was really cool to see the town that full. I see where everybody kind of tries to model their events off of Jour de Fête because it is so popular. But I thought that was excellent. Upcoming events, we have Oktoberfest and Pecanapalooza. So next month, middle of the month in September is Oktoberfest. I've been to a couple of those committee meetings. It seems like, Kara Burt runs that one. Seems like it's pretty in hand. They have, she's got everything down pat. And they just launched a new website that looks great as well. Pecanapalooza, I've seen stuff being promoted on Facebook. Is there anything you'd like to say about it, Dina?
I probably will talk about it when we do the, I think, grant.
Okay,
Okay, yeah.
perfect, excellent.
I would like to add the farmer's table. to
Oh, yeah,
the upcoming
absolutely.
event,
Another,
September 13th.
I'm super excited about that one. Just because I think, us being an agricultural community, it's a very topical event. It's a great way to bring people from the outside to see what our community really has to offer. So bought a couple of seats, so I'm excited to see that go down. I'm also bringing in an influencer to that event. So it'll be interesting what she reports on with that. It's kind of her wheelhouse is like farm to table meals and things like that. So I think, at least we'll have some good stuff to promote the event next year too. So hopefully this will be one we keep doing and keep doing.
Is it sold out yet?
Not yet. We have some tickets available left, but it's coming together really, really nicely. So a lot of our stuff, deliveries are starting to come in now. All of our supplies and stuff. The kids are getting super excited. So
Heard all the chickens are
yeah,
processed
they're
and
processed. Ready to go. The vegetables have been grown, and so yeah.
yeah, it's gonna be really nice.
The weather holds steady, but the ambiance is going to be great.
Yeah,
The
right.
vision is pretty neat.
And when did the tables come in for that?
Well, they're being
Still being made?
handmade right
Yeah,
now.
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Mid-America Barnwood made all of our tables, and they're absolutely stunning. So we're very excited that we'll be able to use those every year. So yep, we're not done yet. We just got. I think you guys probably have of them done.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got to roll right into
Keep
it.
rolling.
Yeah, not much to discuss. I'll kind of pass this stuff down. I presented the Board of Aldermen over the past couple of weeks with a kind of director's marketing plan to kind of help reinforce what McDaniels is doing with our master marketing plan. Obviously there's a dimension to tourism, which McDaniels can help us with, which is, kind of addressing the visitor experience here. And one thing where I think they've kind of, where we need to get a little bit more specific is kind of coming up with a gateway demographic. So if you look at the marketing plan that McDaniels has, we're trying to hit Gen X, Gen Z, millennials. It's a broad swath of a broad target base that I think with our funds, we can't really hit effectively. So I'm trying to find ways to get specific about who is our target demographic that we need to be reaching for and how we get there. So this getting specific marketing plan for 2025 sure is, I think right now, if you look at our Instagram marketing, 75% or more of our followers are women, in between the ages of 25 to 54. So, daughters and mothers taking day trips down here, I think is kind of where we fit in. What's interesting is the chicken egg problem of businesses not being open, and how do we plan to kind of force some sort of consistency? And so my plan would be, if we get the county bed tax passed, it would be to increase our sponsorship to the trolley and see if we can get a very stable, at least 1 day schedule out of the year where it runs for free in between downtown, the wineries, the golf course, places like that. And so that way, people in town, businesses will know that we're bringing people in at least for that 1 day, and we can kind of drive some consistency there. The other part of the daughter's mother demographic that we would be going for is we already have that following on TikTok, but using things like, influencer marketing, which is the way I'm going to do it is going to be with influencers who have like 5,000 followers or less that are locally based, St. Louis based, so that we can really, drive a very, raise our target audience or increase our followers with people who will actually be able to come down on a more regular basis. And then, the rest is building our visitor experience around that and finding ways to work together to do that. So anyways, that's my tourism report. That's one of the things that was in this big sort of 5 to 10 year plan that I have as well. So.
All right. New business.
The first item is TTC bylaw changes. So this is changing because the board has officially dissolved the TAC. So you're looking at adding a couple of ad hoc members and folks to come in and help make decisions, give you some input, specifically from the Chamber of Commerce and the county is what we've listed. So if you're looking at the bylaws, if you look at the second page under C, liaison member, if you go down to the fifth line where it says other, so we're looking at putting into this section is other ad hoc non-voting members of the commission as appointed by the mayor with approval from the Board of Aldermen, maybe a representative from the Chamber of Commerce and a representative of the county commission. If there's anybody else you would want to put on there, this is where we would put them in. If there was another representative you thought you wanted to add to, just as another voice in the community. So what we're looking at is at least adopting this tonight so we can make it all official and then move forward from there. And the other change is a strike through, which I think is on the next page. No, I do this every time. No, it's under Article 8, Item 5. It's just clarification as to when the budget comes in. In Item 4, it talks about giving it to the city administrator in July, which is pretty typical. Item 5 talks about in June submitting a proposed budget, so there's a conflict there. So what I'm looking at is in Item 5 is scratching in June, they'll submit a proposed budget because we will probably work on it starting in June and then submit it by July. So, something simple. Something we didn't catch the first time we redid this. So we're looking at is a motion and a second, and then to make the changes.
Okay, so do we have a motion to make the proposed changes?
Discussion real quick.
Oh, sorry.
On your liaison members, I think those are great. And I know, like, as the liaison for the board and Dina and Karen, as far as that, we'd be non-voting members for the budget items.
Yeah, anything that has to do, well, really anything that has to do with, you're here just to give input.
Yes. So, I mean, just to clarify, I mean, make motion to approve agendas.
No, it has to be the 5 members. Once we get this all clarified, then that's,
Yeah. And that's, going forward, that would be how it's
yes,
correct.
legally done, yes.
So, I mean, having another, if we have a fourth person on there besides the chamber and the county and the city board person, again, they'd be non-voting. If you wanted just to add in there an other member as submitted by the mayor or, appointed by the mayor, you could have that one, but still wouldn't matter because they'd be a non-voting member. So, I mean, basically anybody you could add a generic one in there or not, and they can just sit in on the meetings because they're not going to be voting anyway, correct?
Like a member at large or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Line says it may appoint an additional member at large.
Yeah.
But non-voting.
Yes. But I mean,
At the mayor's discretion.
because then you'd have 9 people here. Again, they're not officially voting. If we took a straw vote, you'd have 9 people if you added that.
Right.
This 9th person. That would be you have 5 plus 3 of us makes 8. if you added one more person at large, you'd have 9. But again, it'd be just a straw vote. It wouldn't hold any weight. So I don't know if that matters to anybody or not. That was just some thoughts I had.
So are we,
Unless you want Aaron to be the tiebreaker sitting up here in Kamala Harris's spot.
Right, yeah, I don't mind. Are you saying she'll be the new president?
so do we need to make that motion with changes? Is that what everyone wants to do?
If that's what you want to do, yeah.
All right, do I have a motion to approve the changes with the addition of what Joe just mentioned, to include a member at large if we would choose?
And the way the language would read is, we get through, and a representative from the county commission, or it's probably just say a representative from the county commission, and the mayor may and board approve an appointment of an additional member at large.
Non-voting member at large.
I mean, it's, everything under that is already, I've said, other ad hoc non-voting members, so that's already in that section.
So a motion to approve 3 changes now, I believe.
Yep.
I'll make a motion to approve the changes as discussed and restated by Happy.
Thank you. Yeah.
I'll say.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion passes.
There you go. Okay.
Yay. Branding recommendations? Is that you?
Sure, yeah, that'd be me. So, as you know, we'll be rebranding the city. Coming up at the beginning of this new fiscal year, we'll start that process. We reached out to 3, well, okay, let me start again. Because the proposed budget for this is $20,000 and our city's, what would you call that, Happy?
Purchasing policy.
Right, our purchasing policy is anything over $15,000 has to go through an RFQ process where we have to get requests for proposals. So we reached out to 3 different organizations. One was Madden. Our grant for this is $20,000. They start at $37,000 for this kind of project. So they bowed out. Of course, McDaniels put theirs in right at $20,000. It was a very extensive, well-bound, 56-page sort of assessment of what they would do. Very well put together. They had a couple of months to do that. And then I reached out to another ad firm or branding firm in St. Louis called Blacktop Sailor, who came highly recommended. They are a group of branding professionals that work for a large company that broke off just this year and formed their own group. Their previous life was working with national and multinational brands like Audi and BMW and Starbucks and things like that. So they have a lot of that kind of branding experience. They broke off. There's 5 of them that work together, and they put in a proposal that would fit within the $20,000 range as well. And I think both of them, Blacktop Sailor only had a week to put together their proposal, but talking with them, I get the feeling that they would do a great job, and I feel like because they are just starting out, they're hungry to do a project like this, and I feel like as they gain more experience, they'll end up being out of our price range for this. So it was a hard decision to come to. We formed a committee. Happy was on it, myself, and TTC member Brock Gibson reached out first to be a part of that. Happy's recommendation was that we go with McDaniels. Brock's recommendation was that we go with Blacktop Sailor. After speaking with them, he also had a phone conversation with one of their founders. And then me being the tiebreaker, I feel like we should go with Blacktop as well. I feel like we know what we're going to get with McDaniels. I think it's safe no matter what. I feel like where we're at right now is, I'm at the center of it, and I will be directing whichever party. But I feel like because of that, I'll get more knowledge out of going with someone like Blacktop Sailor. And given their extensive work with these multinational brands, I feel more comfortable with them. And just the way they framed what branding is. McDaniel's, is kind of a one-stop shop, right? They want to do everything for us, but what is their strengths? They put together that marketing plan. It was good. They're doing a lot of our online marketing and our print marketing, and they are very good at that. And I feel very comfortable with where they are with that. They put together some videos for us. I wasn't very thrilled with that work, so it kind of made me take a step back and go, okay, well, they're not really great at doing everything, and maybe we should look at different organizations. And I feel like Blacktop Sailor would be good to go through for the branding.
Sometimes if you get back a product from them and you just don't like it, they come up with a package, this whole rebranding, and it's like no one's excited about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not that much.
I think part of the provisions within that is that, they do a couple of iterations and they get feedback, and they do, isn't it part of it that they do kind of a, what would you call that? Like an audience testing phase?
They're supposed to do surveys with, like you would do with a product. And people then say, here's what we
Last time, let's do some opinion when we did the last.
So is this a done deal? You've already notified them, or?
No.
You're bringing it here,
bringing
to ask their opinion?
Exactly. So I'm giving the committee's recommendation, and then it's kind of, I would like the board to vote on who they think would be best. And unfortunately, Brock's not here today, but he also had McDaniel's big 56-page tome. And I've got only a couple of proposal summaries from Blacktop Sailor. But
We also advertised it, and that was the only responses we got.
right.
Have they ever done anything with tourism though? Like, can they show you what they can do with tourism?
I
Make a decision like that?
I feel like what we're looking for here isn't so much about tourism as it is about, creating a brand. So it's a little bit outside of, have they branded a city? No. But do I think their understanding of what branding is, do I think they have kind of a better outlook on that and a more, the way they explained it to me is it gave me a lot of food for thought. It's like, oh yeah. And I feel like we have to get this correct, right? Because it's like,
Yeah.
We're stuck with it for the next 10 or 15 years.
that and
Longer than
What's that?
that.
yeah, probably longer than that. And also I feel like understanding, for me to have a better understanding of how to build our brand, right? Because it's not just slapping a logo on St. John and going, this is it. It's about building that feeling that people will get when they come here, when they tell people about it. It's a very abstract concept, and when it was put to me in the way it was, it's like, oh, okay, there's a lot more layers to this. And being that someone that's, I don't know, you worked around branding and things like that, and not really quite understanding where it is, I would love to have a better understanding.
With the integration of like city, county, chamber, though, it has to flow,
Sure.
right? So, okay.
Absolutely. And I think their graphic designer is very capable. And I think that's where I come into play, and that's where I become the common denominator. Whether we choose McDaniel's or not is, understanding, bringing in all the players and understanding how to make those connections between our brands.
So once you choose your branding company, then you're going to bring the other entities into the mix, like the city, the county, the tourism.
Right.
I would really hate to have you do a brand for chamber.
No doubt.
Our input.
No, and I wouldn't do that. I'm just wondering what step to involve you guys in, know what I mean?
Sure.
And so, yeah, I will insert you. I just don't know
Right.
what step of the way.
But they're aware of that process is what I guess my
Sure.
question. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, and
It would include the chamber and the county and city and.
I think, if we could get some help from them monetarily wise, I think we could vary the look up a little bit. I think with what like McDaniel's does, it's kind of like, you can just vary it up with color. But if you wanted kind of like a slight variation on the logo and things like that, then I think it might kind of up the price tag. And so I'd love to talk with those organizations about, what needs to be done there. But I will definitely, now that you say that, I'll make sure to get those terms of.
I was just curious, to make sure that they knew that it's a overall
Right.
brand instead of just singular.
Right, and I feel like McDaniel's knows that more. That's the advantage of having McDaniel's, is that they've niched that out. They've worked through this before, and Blacktop Sailor has not. Although they've worked with different nuances, it seems. Working for these big multinationals, they work through different layers of authority, I guess, within that.
My initial response was, why wouldn't we go with McDaniel? We've already got a relationship. They know us. We're already working with them. Now we have to explain to someone else who we are. And I like the cohesiveness of working with one company. I do hear what you're saying. These people are hungry. They're going to work hard for us to make a name for themselves. I'd be curious why you picked McDaniel Happy over Blacktop or Black.
I think it's more of a practical versus an artistic look at things. So I'm practical, yes,
We're working
McDaniel's
with
already been here, they've done the research,
Yeah.
we've proved that, we've gone through that with them. What they submitted was fine. I think it will, what they can develop for us will work with what we need and how we need to use it in the future. Whereas Blacktop Sailor didn't have as much in the way of demonstration for me, it didn't spark as something I thought appealed for our branding. It may be great for a business, it may be great for some retail, but not for a city, not for a government, not for the other agencies that will be involved in it.
And also, we don't want to ruin that relationship.
I was just going to say, are we worried about how they're going to take that? Or are we going to be blown off after we don't ask them to do part of, he spoke to us about rebranding.
Yeah, sure.
So they're under contract now to do the advertising for us for online and
Yeah.
the other media in this coming year. So we still have a relationship with them. We'll still keep it as part of the team, but yeah, they had hoped to be doing that part of the project.
Right. And being the point person for that, there's just been a couple of hitches in our relationship. And like I said, with the video production, they kind of push for this. We need to get more content. And I said, yeah, absolutely. So we booked a photo shoot and a video shoot, and they came out and they did the video. And I had done my research. I had seen the video work that they'd done. And I'm like, hey, this doesn't really fit what I like. Here's some examples of what I like and what I think would be great for St. Genevieve. And then what they submitted to me was just, it was
Not that.
not good.
Did you
You're
relay
talking
that
about
back?
McDaniel?
Huh?
Did you relay that back to them?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And that's where things that added to the complications, because it was like, a little bit of,
Called her baby ugly.
I being a creative, I get very touchy and personal too, but so I understand that. But I also, it was so bad to the point where I was like, I would never use any of this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where it was like, I took a step back and went, okay, should we be using them for everything? Or, I think with the branding project we'll be fine. I do like their graphic designer a lot. That's Randy's daughter. And the photos she produced were great. And the advertisements she's been producing are good.
For McDaniel, right?
Yeah, right. But there's other things that kind of give me pause. I keep going back into the marketing plan and going, do they really understand what St. Gen is? And the more I learn about St. Gen, the more I go, wait a second, let me go back in. This is kind of it's a little too generic in a lot of ways. And not that they, they've said that is supposed to be a living document, and we're supposed to, keep that open and keep refining that. So that's good. But like I said, there's been a couple of things that have given me pause, and made me kind of sway my recommendation. Just because
Are you worried about that relationship with them? If we go with Black, I can't remember their name.
Blacktop, yeah. No, it's a stupid name too, there as well. I don't like it at all, but I do like the work that they've done. So there's that. I mean, in some ways, but I wouldn't want it to, you know what I mean? Like, and that's what's hard about it is like, I wouldn't want it to, but I don't want to be handcuffed. I'm
not disagreeing with you.
Sure. Yeah, no, and I'm just trying to convey how complicated it is, because it would be one thing if I was worried about messing up that relationship because, let's say they are so good, and I just think this other person is better, but I feel like I'm kind of handcuffed to them because, at some point they're just like, well, we're doing all this for you.
They're going to keep coming back to us for all the other grant opportunities, aren't they?
Absolutely.
The state grants.
And they have they've got our marketing plan, and, they've built it to where, each year they're helping us do all of this stuff. So of course they're going to come. They probably already have their proposals kind of ready for that. So it's, this has been a difficult decision because of that. We had a sit down meeting, or I had a sit down meeting with them, and Randy brought his COO in, and Jenna, of course, was there for that. And they were just kind of talking about the relationship thing and reassuring that yes, you'll get all the input, and things like that. And so, I do feel good moving forward with them. But again, I don't want to get something subpar. Do I think I will get it for the branding? No. But will I be, I was saying this in the alderman meeting, they chose not to dissolve my position for a reason. They could have dissolved my position, went with McDaniels to do everything. But at the end of the day, they kept my position, and I really treat my position as a steward and doing what's best for St. Genevieve in this, choosing the best position players to be on the field, so.
Do we need to vote on this?
What we're looking for is mostly just a recommendation. The board makes final decision because it's budget.
Okay.
Aaron, did you say you had samples of some of the stuff that Blacktop Seals have done?
Yeah, I can send it to you. Yeah, and McDaniels just sent one bound copy, and it's in Brock's possession right now. So I'd love to send both of those to you guys. I'll see if McDaniels can just send me a PDF, and you guys can go through it. It's long. Blacktops isn't quite as long, and it isn't quite as detailed as well. So maybe, I don't know. I don't think we can table it till next month, or.
We just don't take it to the board yet.
Okay.
It just means a delay.
It's just-
You don't get the granting done until next year at some point.
Which is pretty much where we're at anyways. And I feel like, McDaniels pretty much has the direction in their mind where they're going to take it. And it doesn't seem like Blacktop Sailor. They said 5 to 6 weeks, which they might be overestimating their powers right now. But, basically the launch for our rebrand would be in January, kind of regardless. So we could always.
The county wants in on that as well.
Yeah, is this a part of I know we were talking about redoing the county logo, so is that a part of this, or is this something totally separate?
This is about that. As far as for the sign and stuff like that, that'll be separate, because I think what you guys were talking about for that is, I wanted to talk with Michelle a little bit more. Actually, I was supposed to come to one of your meetings. I'll stop by Monday, and we'll talk more about that.
Okay, I wasn't sure if that was kind of included in this, or that's a total separate.
It's a separate thing, and especially since Michelle said that they would you guys would need to use the grant money before December on that.
Yes.
So, and I think what you guys are looking for
That's
is,
what I was concerned about. We're on a timeline.
no, and I think with that, you could just use typography, kind of that old English engravers typography to really capture what you want. But as far as what the logo is going to be coming up, it'll probably be something completely different.
Well, in my opinion, I think you're the one doing the work. You've seen all the work from both sides, and I think you should have the final say. We need to trust you. You're right. We hired you to do a job, and we need to trust you to do it.
Appreciate that.
Well, you had three. I mean, Happy chose McDaniel, but Brock also chose Blacktop. So, and I think, if you had to say, is it close to being a toss-up? Is it close to being a toss-up of what you would?
Yeah, I mean, I would say so. I mean, there's unknowns on both sides, right? And I guess less so in McDaniel's spot, but I feel like the ceiling is lower. So it's interesting from that. And like I've said from the start, what I'm here to do is keep, McDaniel's has their niche. They work with small communities. So how do we not get cookie cutter stamped out and we just end up, losing, or they push us into this new brand that they think makes us fresh, but really we just look like every other town, at that point. I mean, we're the oldest permanent settlement west of the Mississippi. We should be leaning into that and not losing that part of it. And how do we make it fresh while maintaining that? I mean, that's a tightrope.
Is there some way you can put some pressure on them to say, hey, look, guys, what you've given me is cookie cutter. We're special. Show us how you're going to make it special.
Well, and the
And put
interesting,
pressure on them that way.
yeah, I mean, I think that what's interesting about this is, they haven't done the work yet. They don't show you the work until
Right.
Until
I have to show you a
afterwards.
peek at that page, especially what makes you special.
Well, I think with the branding work that they have done, I mean, I have to say none of the logos look exactly the same, and maybe part of that is it's up to us to really cement our brand. But at this point, I would love to speak with some experts that know more about, what I mean? I want to partner with a team that knows what branding is and that could impart something on me. And I feel like thus far, I've been directing McDaniel's, which is what you want in some ways, but I also want some subject matter experts, to like bounce things off of. So again, that's what makes it hard. McDaniel's is a jack of all trades, really, and they, but outside of video, they do pretty much everything well. But is that going to help us grow, and is that going to help us? It's a really interesting thing because again, we've got to walk this tightrope of who we want to be. We want to have a fresh take on what St. Genevieve is, but we don't want to lose, and that we don't want to lose who we are. And when you ask people who we are, like even in the brand promise from McDaniel's, it's like, this is who we are. And it's like, there's some essence we're missing there. You know what I mean? It's basically like they took what we said about ourselves and just gave it back to us instead of going like, what did they say? And like, is that correct? Does that match with what we're looking at, or is that different? Is their essence something that they don't even think it is? And I think a lot of times you need that outside perspective for that, and a subject matter expert. And I got that from Blacktop Sailor from talking with them. It's like, oh, they really understand about branding.
Branding is more than a logo. Branding is an establishing idea, a concept. It is
It's attitude.
100%.
It's attitude, yeah, for sure. Yeah, how people feel about you, how people feel about associating with you, which is a really interesting. It's abstract, man. I mean, it's way out there. So
So is anyone else ready to make some sort of give them some feedback? I feel like we haven't, I mean, we've asked,
No, it's-
obviously we're learning about it,
No,
but
this is good.
we haven't given you anything yet.
No, it's,
So just you three were the ones that seen the presentation from all of them, nobody else has?
right. Yeah, I think Happy wanted to keep the committee decently small just because it's a lot on you guys, especially flipping through 60 pages of McDaniels and then sitting blacktop and then, staying up at night going, branding, what is branding? So, done that one. I got up at 2 a.m. I'm like, I got it. I know what it is. And like,
Like algebra, you have it while you're looking at it, so you look away.
right, exactly. What was that again? Yeah, it's very close to that. So, I don't know. It seems like we're a little bit at an impasse. And I'm not sure if handing you guys more information is going to help or if it's going to muddy the waters. I also, with McDaniel's plan, I showed it to a group of people and, I was like, okay, what should we do? Hoping we could like narrow the scope and instead our scope blew out of proportion. I was like, well, that didn't help, and they just added more things to the plate. And so, yeah, it's tough to see where we're going to get the answer from, but,
How are you all feeling? Are you feeling like
Before
you're,
you need more information or are
Yeah.
you ready to kind of give at least a?
Well, the thing is, without having, seen the presentations and things, but at the same time, they're very general right now, so they really aren't saying anything and just saying it's the temper of the company that you're working with, not necessarily the content, at least at this point in time.
yeah, that's true.
And you have one company that's provided a lot of content, but most of it goes in file 13. And so it's a matter of, how much more paperwork do you want to wade through to find out what it is? Or can you find somebody that you can sit down and say, look, give me some real tight bullet points. And if we like them, let's move on. It really is, it's a hard thing to figure out who you want to have represent the community as a whole. And it's very subjective.
But I would imagine with you three making a decision that you have the interest of all of us, your expertise in it. I mean, I trust you.
Appreciate that. Yeah, no, I want the best for St. John. I honestly want a brand that we could use for the next 50 years and build for the next 50 years because, in some ways, what McDaniel's has put forward is that we're a finished product. We just haven't been marketed correctly yet. And in my opinion, I think we need to delve into our identity a little bit more so that we can find where our branding is so that then we can market effectively. Because, without knowing who we are and what we're doing, and that's what's our future, where's our past and what are we doing with our future to kind of like align, we're not going to be able to market effectively. So.
I know I don't get a vote, but I do have some input.
Sure.
As the person who sat on the original branding committee 10 years ago, the smaller the better, because we didn't do that. And we had too many chiefs and, you know what I mean? There was just too many hands in the cookie jar kind of thing. And it took us forever to come up with the logo that we currently have. And we didn't have anything to back it up with the education of who we are, why we chose it. I think at the end of the day, we were so tired of dealing with it, we just passed a brand or a logo.
Sure.
So personally, I feel like if the three of you made the decision, then we should trust you on that decision. And, and if it's crap, then we're going to blame you.
For
You know what I'm saying?
sure. Absolutely.
I'm just saying.
Bringing people to the meeting that we can blame them.
Right.
But I definitely think keeping it small is the way to go. I don't feel like, and I know I don't get a vote, but the 4 of you or the 5 of you making that decision when 3 of them have already made the decision, I think is what you should do, in my opinion.
We just have to kind of trust what's going on with you guys.
go with your gut?
I'm assuming Brock would be for Blacktop Sailor, of course.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's what he said. And he, for the same reasons, he just thinks, you know, and he talked with one of the owners and came away like, yeah, these guys are gonna get us a good product.
And I actually, I mean, I think spreading the love with two different people is fine. I mean, we all, you know, we do it with banks all the time. You don't put all your money in one bank, you spread it around or whatever. But I think it's you know, you should have two. I think it would be fine.
Well, and
Maybe they can work and marry each other like and make this beautiful project, you know?
well, and that's what Blacktop is talking about. Like, you know, we will work with,
Sure.
you know, they'll take the marketing document, they'll talk with McDaniels, but you know, it's how cooperative. And you know, I am worried about that a little bit, but at the end of the day, we really need to get you know, this is the super important foundation. The marketing plan is great. You know, there's some parts of that are incomplete because we don't know what our brand is. And then when we have our brand and it's super solid, then we can amend those documents to really, again, market effectively. So,
You feel like you got what you needed?
yeah, thank you. No, thanks for the back and forth.
All right, other business.
So we don't need to deal with any voting or anything, okay?
I think that's you, isn't it, Gravel Classic?
Oh, that is me. Okay. Well, I think, yeah, right.
Go on.
Yeah, so TrailNet provided us with some information about what their economic impact was for this year.
Is this board requested that they get some information from, so we can see what that was? You have that in front of you, we sent it to packet. I mean, we can go over it. I don't think you want to go over it in detail, but you can tell that we pulled most people from St. Louis. Last year, I think we pulled more people from Cape Girardeau, not more than St. Louis, but we had more interest there. You can see the ages, 47%, 50 to 64. That was your biggest group, as along with the males. They made some recommendations. So, but from the grant expenditures, they kind of broke down what they spent the money on, and how that then brought more people into St. Genevieve. They didn't break down, you know, how many, you know, what kind of financial impact it gave us. But at least it broke down who they attracted and what we could probably do to make it better next year.
We got the same report from them for the chamber, so
Okay.
it's very.
I think they had the same thing up in Jefferson County. They had an event.
And theirs is the bottle something.
Yeah.
They started that about 10 years ago.
Did they? Okay.
Well, and hopefully we will be, it seems like, getting that Placer AI data for next year, and maybe we can find out, do a bit more of a deep dive, I guess, in there, or ask them. I don't know, I guess I could reach out to different lodging places throughout the city and find out who's there for Gravel Classic. But all in all, I mean, it's a well-run event, and it's really, I think it's good for the city. And, you know, it's kind of like Jour de Fête. It might have some years where it's rained out or the weather's not supposed to be good, and then when the weather's great, you know, we'll have 600 people in the race. Who knows? You know, so. Oh yeah, yeah. I got to keep talking, don't I? Marketing assistance.
We've got
grants.
2 grants.
Dina gets to talk.
Let's look at the Compalooza grant first. Anyone discussion?
Well, I sit on the Downtown St. John board. Amanda couldn't be here this evening, so I told her that I would answer any questions that you guys might have in regards to the event. So just in case you're not aware, Compalooza, this is their 3rd year. Or actually, it's their 4th year. The last 3 years they were with FCA. So French Colonial America was the sponsoring entity of that event. They released this event to us after last year's event. So they knew that going into 2024, they were not going to do it again. So it's grown a lot in the last 3 years. So it was an event that the chamber and the downtown St. John group did not want to see just go away. So we jumped on board and said we'd take it on for a year and to see what we can do with it. And it's actually going very, very well. I think we have 20 or 20 plus vendors, like maybe 22 vendors or something like that. So our outreach is obviously to try to bring people in, like Honeyfest and Jerdafest and Oktoberfest and all the same things. So the marketing part of it is, I'm guessing, I think Amanda is the one, she's actually the one doing the Facebook marketing for it, the social media boost, and then the posters and the flyers. And we actually have a breakdown, because I know, Tom, you've asked us for every grant, but we have the breakdown of where the money is going and where, how it's being divided out. So we did
Marketing
good.
outside of our,
Yeah.
outside of the local.
Yes. And I think what, FCA gave us everything Pecanapalooza, so they gave us the naming rights, they gave us all of their material and data from their past festivals. So we took that information, reached out to those same people, but then we also kind of piggybacked on some of the Honeyfest vendors, also just a few other vendors, like we went around Jerdafest and we handed out flyers to certain vendors. We did get a couple of them from Jerdafest, so I think that was good. And then just some people that we've known on that board. We just knew of other vendors that we sent it out to, coming from different communities for the event. It is just a one-day event on Saturday, November 2nd. So.
Okay, they're asking for $1,000. Does anyone have any other questions or comments before we take a vote? All right. Motion to approve $1,000 to the downtown St. Genevieve for Pecanapalooza.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, guys.
All right, the next one, Domestic Violence Division, the St. Genevieve Community Service Forum, they're asking for $1,000. Discussion.
Hi, everybody. Kathy Kreitler. I'm the chairman of the Domestic Violence Division of the St. Genevieve Community Services Forum. And Karen and Happy are two of our officers. And I put in what our, a description of what we are. We just had our 30-year anniversary. So that's what's in your packet too. So you kind of understand what we are. And we, the domestic violence in our community has no funding from any entity in our area, from county or city government. So we don't have any funding, and it is a needed resource in our community. So you guys have in your packet kind of the budget for marketing. And I first sent out what my idea was, and I was asked to give my budget to the forum. The forum is actually my parent oversight. I don't have a board or anything like that. That's what the forum is to me. So they oversee everything that I do as far as my spending and things like that. So when they asked for the budget, I submitted my budget, which is what I gave you tonight, is what I whittled it down to. I was kind of hoping to see what grant I could get from the city and then apply it and have the entire budget to give to the forum, but they asked for it on the 14th. So that's why you guys have the updated. So the money that I would get from the fundraiser would then go to the forum into their treasury, and then I would use from that to meet the needs of the domestic violence victims in St. Genevieve County, city and county. Do you want to hear about the fundraiser, or do you have any questions? I've got Luna Ice on board now, and I do have a sponsor who I haven't 100% confirmed them, but they would pay for like the first 100 ices from Luna Ice. They indicated they would, so I don't want to use their name yet because they haven't 100% confirmed it. But I've got Iron Dogs as a food truck, and the I Heart Cookies. I don't have them 100%, but I've been in talks with them. They don't want to confirm yet. She doesn't want to confirm so much in
Is this the
advance.
first time event?
Yes, it's a first annual event. We'll have Survivor Art, which is a national thing. We're going to do T-shirts. I've got some of my victims have done it with their kids, so we're going to have different size T-shirts hanging on a clothesline, which is done nationally. So that'll have an impact too, I think, when people actually see that. And then the main source of funds will be from the car show, and with the Missouri Foundation for Health grant that I was able to get, I used that money to negotiate with Dunsey Broadcasting, and were very generous with me, and they're going to broadcast in a 60-mile radius. So I think we will get a good showing of vehicles from that. And then we have a 65 Chevy short bed step side. So I do have some connections in the car show field. And so we're going to contact those and then send flyers and things to those car clubs. But then we're also going to use flyers it's kind of customary to put them in the vehicles, but we're also going to put flyers around the surrounding counties. But the radio station will have a radius. They have KBDZ is what car show people listen to. So they'll have that to listen to that will bring in vehicles too. So I think we'll get a real good showing because the radio station being sponsoring us, which we're very grateful for. And I've had a real good turnout with people in the community giving gifts or whatever for the drawings, which kind of is a tradition with car show people. They like the drawings. And the Main Street Inn is our grand prize, and the community center has given us our second place prize. So those are all bringing the cars, which is, a fundraiser. And it's a people's choice, so the kids get to vote. Everybody gets to vote, but the kids get to vote. And we'll have Sheriff Stolzer has promised the K-9 unit and the DARE unit. And then we'll have the ambulance and the fire trucks there, so the kids will have fun when they come. So, is there any questions about it? But yeah, the funds will be used for the domestic violence victims in St. John City and County. I used to get my funding through the county, through the grants through the county, and that funding is gone now.
Yeah.
So now I have to raise my own money for the domestic violence victims.
The package that you got with Dunsey Communication for the radio and stuff, what do you think that would normally be worth?
Probably about $800. Yeah.
And they're gonna do it for $250 now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I had to whittle my prices down. I knew I would have to from the original thing that I sent you guys. I knew I would have to, but that was kind of my ideal.
Any other discussion, or are you all ready to vote? I think my one question or concern would be when you're doing like your Facebook advertising, I know you're doing mailers, we want people from 50 miles or farther out coming in.
Mm-hmm.
The Dunsey's communication's going to be fairly local.
It'll be 60-mile radius, yeah.
So if we could-
It usually starts at 50 miles and goes further. It's not within the 50 miles, it's outside of 50 miles. It's where the advertising, the tourism can fund to bring people from 50 miles further out into us.
So you want to go out further than 50 miles?
Right, yeah, you're aiming advertising, we can fund advertising that is for events that are further than 50 miles away.
Which is fine for the mailers, you're going out to the different car clubs.
As long as they're
The
addressed
Facebook.
50 miles away.
Yeah.
So you're saying, I guess I'm not following you. You want me to advertise further than 50 miles away?
Well, we cannot fund any advertising for events that is within 50 miles of us.
That's not correct.
We can't take an ad out and pay for it in the Perryville newspaper because it's closer than 50 miles.
No, you actually can. You can't as part of the
State grant.
marketing grant from the state.
Right.
That requires 50 miles.
Right, for the state.
This is tourism funds.
Okay.
So these don't have that restriction, so you don't have to worry about
So we
it.
can do what we want.
Right.
Yeah, but if you want that, you request that you want to have everything out further than I think last time we talked about this, we wanted it outside St. Genevieve County.
Yeah.
We wanted to try to reach Jefferson County.
At the minimum.
St. Francis, but not, you get more than 50 miles out. It's a day's drive, not day's drive, but you may not get enough people here for this type of event because it would be too much.
It'd be an overnight
It's trying to
stay.
bring new people in, is what the tourism does.
We'd love to have overnight stays, but that's the ultimate for the tourism funds, because that's what generates, to get more people in. But
Yeah.
you don't have to worry about restricting it to just within anything outside 50-mile radius.
But you might get people to stay. I mean, if they're bringing their cars in, they might decide to spend the night somewhere and then come to the car show the next day. So I think a lot of them do that sometimes, especially if
Yeah.
they're driving a further
Right.
distance.
Yeah, I was thinking about going to Microtel and getting a 10% go back on them, because seriously, people do.
Yeah, they
Especially
do.
with having St. Genevieve be a historic town. They would come in the night before and like spend the weekend because it is a historic town. I was thinking about doing that, I just haven't had time to do the Microtel thing. I was thinking about that. And the bed and breakfast, but it's been a lot of work organizing.
Yeah.
Organizing this has taken a lot of work, and this is my first year.
Yeah.
But no, I was thinking about doing the overnight thing because, and car show people, they do have a lot of time on their hands, and it's very common for like several friends to come together and they'll park their vehicles and then they'll adventure into the town or whatever. That is very common for them to come like in a group. And I totally expect them to leave their vehicles because that is very common and to come into town.
Well, we
That's-
have a lot of car shows in the area and, you know, any exposure that we can get to bring in more people who haven't been able to make the last ones to get here. And
It's a popular thing to do the car shows, and it does bring other people in and friends, you know.
Even for Joe DeFett, some people just go to that car show just for Joe DeFett. They come down here just for the car show, you know? And I know they walk downtown, but they make it a point that I'm coming to the car show on Sunday. So,
Yeah, it is a draw. It's always a draw. And then doing the People's Choice, and then we're doing the hand fabricated trophies, which the best man in our wedding is making them. So, and he's placed in Sturgis before. He takes metal
Oh.
and makes it into a motorcycle. And yeah, he's placed 3 times in Sturgis, and he sells them for like $60,000 for a motorcycle that he made from metal. I know. But anyway, he's making our trophies. So the trophies are free. We're having a lot of things donated and things. So our overhead is really low. But the hand fabricated trophies are going to bring people in too. And it's very difficult to find engine parts, I'm finding out, but I am getting them. You have to use the hand fabricated trophies. They want engine parts, the inside of engines, not the outsides. So anyway.
Any
So-
other questions, concerns for Kathy? Are you all ready to vote? All right. Make a motion to approve $1,000 for the domestic violence car show.
I'll make a motion. We did it with the F-150 rally.
Yes, yes.
So, I mean, it's kind
We
of,
set precedent, yeah.
yeah, so I'd make a motion.
Second?
All those in favor? Aye.
Thank you guys so much on behalf of all the
Good
girls.
luck with your event.
I've had 2 guys, by the way, and we really do appreciate it. We really do have a big need in St. Joe. Thank you.
no, thank you got it.
All right, move to adjourn? Oh, sure.
We got left in this budget then now, that we just did 2 more grand.
That's it.
That was gonna be that.
That's the end of this, but we were.
Starting in October 1st.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
There's nothing else out there until.
That was the last amount of that.
We haven't got 7,000. We were getting one given out 7,000.
Move to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
So.